Good morning, dreamers. How are you today? Hi, Stella.
Hi.
And Jimmy. As you know, I have two amazing kitties, Stella and Julie. At our church, we have been going through something that is the topic of the day, and it's how do we welcome and include LGBTQI2IA plus and all of those, the rainbow community. How do we do that well? And there's a group of us from multiple churches that are trying to figure out if it's good and healthy to create a safe space for the rainbow community. Or does that give churches the out, the ability to just ignore the topic and pretend it's not there? So we kind of we've given them a program and they can go be safe there. They don't need to be safe here because, to be really honest, the church is not a safe place for them at the moment. I was praying about it, and I never ever thought God would give me an answer the way He did. Because yesterday, one of the guys at work had a little tiny kitten take shelter in his house, and he put out a call, "Does anyone want this kitten?" My gut reaction, and I answered, was no, 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 no. And then I'm telling Carl about it, and my big guy's heart said yes, yes, yes. So we now have a kitten. Meet Dumpster Kitty. Dumpster Kitty was unexpected. Dumpster Kitty was messy. Dumpster Kitty uh, needed a home. Dumpster Kitty is very defensive and scared. And yet, Dumpster Kitty also scares the other two that were already here because it was such a shock. They did not have time to deal with it. This is Carl's kitty. That's why we call him Dumpster Kitty, because he doesn't have a name yet, because Carl hasn't even met him in person. But this little guy has brought such change so quickly. But the way you introduce a kitten to other cats is by giving it its safe space. And Jimmy's going to go and take him back to that safe space now, because his room is acting as the safe space. And we give him a safe space, and we give him food and nutrition and safety so that he can grow used to us, accustomed to us, and he can start to see that not everyone is going to hurt him. Because he's literally been fighting for his life since he was born. Since he was born. And I was really worried about creating a safe space because I thought that just lets the churches off the hook. They don't have to do the work because they can say, look, they can have their own little church over there. But the goal of a safe place is actually to bring them into communion with those that are already here. But in so doing, we give those that are already here time to figure out what's going on. Because whether Dumpster Kitty knew for 6 to 8 weeks that he was Dumpster Kitty and he knew who he was, and the parents of said Dumpster Kitty, Carl, said, no, I want him, I want him, I want to adopt him, I love him, and he needs a home, he needs a place to be. He was his advocate and ally from the second he saw the picture of this cat. And I thought, what an interesting thing. Dumpster Kitty needed a safe place because from the moment he was born, he was pushed away from his mother, who was pushed away from wherever he came from until he took shelter in someone's home. On an off chance that that big dog wouldn't eat him, he just saw somewhere that was warm with an open door. But warm and open doors don't always want you. They say you're welcome, but then once you're in, they're just like, no, there's too many of us already here. You don't fit our family. You're not quite right. And so someone comes along and says, oh, I see you. I love you. And he says to his wife, I know I'm not home right now, but I want that cat. And so someone comes along and sees a rainbow person and says, I see you, I love you, I want you. But to bring that rainbow person into the home already established, metaphor of course for church, scares the people who are already there that haven't even thought, it wasn't even on their radar when they woke up in the morning, that that was something they should talk about or think about or revisit in their theology. It wasn't even on their radar. And so now I'm shoving it in their face because I have this beautiful being that I'm bringing. And so then their hackles get up. I'm looking at Stella's hackles. They're up right now because there's a new member of the family. And it's a lot of change overnight, and it's frustrating because there's new smells and there's new sights and there's new sounds, and this thing doesn't look the way it should apparently. It's too small, it's too this, it's too that. But Carl says, no, you belong. So the rest of us gather together and we make sure that this little guy has its own space where it can grow and it can feel secure. And it might bite a couple hands, it might scratch at a couple people because its fear is speaking. Its terror of, will they reject me when they realize that I'm a third cat? I am going to cost something. I'm going to have a sacrifice for them. They're going to have to take me to the vet. They're going to have to pay some money to give me the supports that I need. So are they going to reject me? I'm afraid. And they keep coming at me in their big, beautiful way, saying, come on, you're safe. The only one that can figure out that it's safe is Dumpster Kitty. So I must give it the space and the time needed to truly feel safe. And so we can hear his meow, his hiss, his purr. And we can listen to its voice, and that voice will become familiar in our home. And soon the door will open, and he will no longer be a closeted, safe space kitty. He will be integrated into the home. And I did not realize what an amazing picture this was going to be. God speaks to me through pictures, and he showed me the safe space for our rainbow community is really important. It is a temporary one until we can integrate fully, but it is needed for a time and for a season so that our rainbow community can feel safe, and so that our current churches can say, wait a minute, maybe we need to look at this again. Maybe we need to do some study, and we need to realize that in other languages the Bible isn't clear because English has been handled by straight white dudes that have a blind spot to their privilege. It's not a crack at straight white dudes. They just have a blind spot. And if we don't turn our neck and check our blind spots, we don't know who's there. We can run right over them to the place of death. If Jesse had been driving his truck in such a way when he came home with this little dumpster kitty in his property, he could have run right over it because he didn't see it. It's dark. It was dark when he got home, but he was being careful, and this little guy felt a smidgen of safety in his home. And if we are putting out a smidgen of safety and the love of Jesus in our churches, and then rejecting them because it's not truly a safe place. Because you know what? Often I've heard people say, well, they come in and they ask if they can ever be in leadership. Why are they starting their journey with Jesus wanting to be on top? It's not what they're asking. They're asking, would I ever be allowed in leadership? Because it is a litmus test that is immediate, that they know whether they are at the kiddie table or whether they're at the full table, and whether their voice is going to matter or not eventually. One day, will my voice matter, or am I just a second-class citizen who gets to sit, give as much money, give as much volunteer hours as I want, only in certain places? But yeah, it's the litmus test. It's not that they ever want to lead. It's that they want the privilege of being a full-fledged child of God in the eyes of those in the family and those in the church. And soon, Stella and Tuli will see the dumpster kitty, because he will get a name. Yeah, we'll see that he's part of the family. It's just going to take some time. Anyway, wherever you are in the world of rainbows, think again. Stop and pray. Make some safe space for people, truly safe. And it's going to take some sacrifice and some effort. And if the people God is showing you are not rainbow community people, they're a different community, do what you need to do to get out of yourself and get out of your rut and go and revisit these things. Because Jesus taught with that, you have heard this, but I tell you this. Do the work. It's worth it. You never know who is going to be the cuddly new member of your family. Know that I love you. Bye.